What is up, everybody? We are back with some Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and we are here to answer that question on should you pull for the new Cid and Lucia banner that just dropped for our spring event. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, guys, hit the subscribe button, follow along with what we do here, hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts on the banner. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree with my assessment? Why? And yeah. Let's get that conversation going and let's get started. So, we're going to start with number one here, which will be Cid. Before I guess we get too far into this, guys, do remember that this video is kind of more directed at those who are trying to figure out the best way to maybe spend crystals, trying to think about the meta of the game a little bit more versus just having to have everything for that specific character. If you're a huge Cid character or a fan or a huge Lucia fan, and you've got the crystals to pull the costume, then by all means, go for it. You know, there's nothing wrong with having that one character that you have to have everything for, and just, you know, kidding up that character. It's fun, you know, it's part of the game being fun at that point. But this is more kind of directed and designed for those who are trying to figure out, is this a banner to spend crystals on or not? So, without further ado, let's get started. So again, we're going to start with Cid being first character on the banner, looking at the costume in general here. So, got this nice like purple aspect going on. I mentioned in the update video that it kind of reminds me of Kain from Final Fantasy IV. The overall look and aesthetic of it, especially with the little pauldron here, it's exactly what that reminds me of. Reminds me of Kain's armor, and even the lance reminds me of Kain's lance a little bit, especially the coloration as well. Overall, the costume looks pretty decent. I think it fits the look of Cid very, very well, and it doesn't look out of place. So overall, I think it looks great. So let's look at stats, starting with the outfit first. So we have physical and magic ward, so this gives you that 15% physical and magic defense. This is an awesome stat to have. It provides that survivability. So overall, strong our ability to have for a costume. We do not have a Omni Arcanum here. We have specifically a Levin Blade, or Levin Spell Arcanum, sorry. This specifically boosts lightning ability damage by 30%. And it also increases the command gauge magic ability. Let me try that again. It increases your max ability damage by 20% when your command gauge is maxed. Specifically, magic ability damage. So for a lightning user, that's great. Before we get into the actual Dragoon Lance, just really quickly, let's look at Cid's weapons, because, you know, while yes, this is probably going to fit well, his new weapon's going to fit well with this armor, does he have anything to truly back it up? Because that's another thing to kind of consider. And he does have one lightning weapon, and it's his Dragoon Lance. That's it. It is magic, which is fine. But when we look at the rest of the things here, again, we got, you know, physical. This is a buff weapon. It does increase P attack and M attack. You've got the Radiant Lance, which is physical. Viper Halberd, which is a P def M def increase. We have a buff. You've got the Partisan, which has Magic Wind. You've got the Poleaxe, which does physical damage. You've got the Trident, which does physical damage. You've got the Slash Lance, which does physical damage. And you do have the Spear, which also does physical damage. So far, he's been really kitted up as a physical user. Now, that being said, I'll kind of come back to this because there are a couple of these weapons that could potentially work with this Dragoon Lance if you kind of build him correctly around it. So, the Dragoon Lance here, in its base form, 420% magic lightning damage to all enemies. It is an AoE attack. When his HP is 50% or more, it lowers the lightning resist of all enemies from low to mid. So, 20 seconds, but again, I don't like low to mid really anymore with a lot of these newer weapons. I feel like we really have pushed into a new power creep with this, but because it is AoE, I'll give it a little bit of a pass on that. But really, anymore, we should be just mid to mid at minimum on these. When buff is granted to himself, so when he has a buff, he's going to do 1.2 times the damage. It does boost M attack and lightning potency. It does M attack boost, and cross sigil. Now, something to consider about Cid is that he, according to our new role assignments, is considered a support character. And this is kind of, when we look at it being maxed, you look at how much damage it does. It's not a big damage weapon. It's big for AoE, but this is not going to be something you're dishing out a ton of damage with as compared to somebody who has a single target attack. But this does pair really nicely with his support role in that he gets a cross sigil boost. So if you throw a cross sigil on this in the third materia slot, you're going to get the boost from the weapon as well as the boost from his support role. So this actually works really well with that. So keeping that in mind, let's kind of press forward here. 480% magic lightning damage when it's at OB1. You're still at low to mid on your lightning resist decrease. And again, I didn't really touch on this. I mentioned it. HP has to be 50% or more. I don't like that threshold, especially if we're only looking low to mid. Again, I'm already not happy with the low to mid. I don't like the HP threshold on top of it. However, let's assume you're going to main hand this thing. You're at 32 magic attack. That's going to put you at the plus 20%. Lightning potency at 15, so plus 25%. Taking it up to OB6, you're now doing 590% magic lightning damage. You have gone up from low to mid to high. This is kind of why I wish this was mid to mid off the bat, because you're automatically buffing both. Low's going to mid, mid's going to high. This should have been mid to mid to start with. But again, it is AoE, which is nice, so you have the potential of knocking all enemies their lightning resist down to high. Or to a high potency, which is great. Like I said, the 50% is still a little bit of a bummer. Main handing, 40 points, you're at 30% there. Lightning potency, 27, so you're at the 40%. If you do take this up to OB10, you're now at 670%. You don't get any more lightning resist decrease, you are still mid to high. It has gone to 30 seconds, though. Boost M attack is at 46, so you're only 9 points away from having your magic attack maxed. So even if you have a weapon that has a low magic attack boost, it's fine as long as it's netting you at least 18 points, because that'll be split in half. So 46 is going to get you at 40%. Your lightning potency is at 39, which is going to put you at the 55%. So overall, it's not a terrible weapon. I would like this actually a lot more if it did not have this HP threshold right here. You got rid of that, I think this is a really solid weapon, especially for a support character. So, you know, being a support character, they're there to buff and debuff, but provide a little damage, right? Should not be your main damage dealer. This would be a great help to whoever your main DPS is. So, what would you want to pair with something like this if you're looking at his offhand? Because again, you're going to want to main hand that weapon. So I would consider either the same one twice here, the Radiant Lance. Reason being, because that's going to boost attack and ability potency. That's going to help both. It's going to help his magic damage, because you're going to easily cap your magic attack. So now you're throwing in attack, which is going to help boost your magic damage through the attack stat. Boost ability potency then is also a nice little buff with that. The other weapon that you could use could be the Slash Lance. Again, boosting attack, but it's also boosting your buff-debuff extension. That's going to make that lightning resist down last even longer. It also gives a little bit of a P-def increase as well to all allies, which is really nice. because it's boosted high to high if you have that at OB10. Even at OB1, it's mid to high. So those are two really good weapons you could pair up with that. You potentially could do the Scimitar because of the buff debuff extension. It's going to give you some heal, which you're probably not going to be using. But it also does give you that P attack, M attack increase. It does boost ice damage, which really isn't going to be useful considering using this as a light, or you're going to be using it with a lightning weapon. So that part's not going to be as useful. But that P attack, or the M attack, could be nice. Or P attack if you're paired up with a physical lightning user. So overall, Cid's gear, it's alright. I don't know. Like I said, I think if we got rid of that HP threshold, I would like it a lot more. And I would find it a lot more beneficial. Before I give my advice on pulling, we still have to look at Lucia, because thankfully they were nice enough to give us 2 characters with both weapon and gear. We've been kind of getting a lot of where we're getting 2 characters, only one of them's getting the gear while both are getting weapons, so we're getting 2 here, which is really nice. It gives you a little bit more options in pulling. So, let's take a look at the overall look of the outfit first. Overall, I think the outfit doesn't look bad on her. Especially considering Lucia really hasn't gotten a lot of love in the realm of getting gear and weapons and whatnot. So it's nice to actually see her get something. It was mentioned earlier that it was felt like her face looks like Tifa's face. Like it was like Tifa's face was plastered on Lucia's body. I can kind of see it. There's definitely a lot of similarities, and that just could be due to just character designs or trying to make the characters fit in the Final Fantasy universe, or the Final Fantasy 7 universe. I mean, look at anything that Akira Toriyama did. A lot of those characters look really, really similar. It could be because of that. I did look at some of Lucia's other character models, and they softened up a little bit of the face, yes, but overall it still kind of looks like Lucia. But I do kind of see the Tifa look going on. So I did want to kind of point to that. I like the hat. The hat looks really cool. I like the little, laced up the top. You got the wings and the star there. It looks really cool. Very kind of showgirl-esque. Or tap dancer-esque. Kind of looks like she's going to be a member of the Rockettes or something like that. Got the little bow collar here. The wings fit really well with you got the wings on the back here. The star design, which... Is there a star on this one? Yes, there was. So the heart is kind of a little misplaced in my thought, because you got stars everywhere here. You got stars on her arm, you got a star on her back here, you got the star on the hat, and then we have a heart. I don't remember seeing there's a star there. I don't remember seeing a heart anywhere else. Stars on the little flaps here, so... Is the ring a heart? No, it's a little ruby. So, the heart's a little weird, but again, that's just being nitpicky. Like I said, yeah, it's definitely, like I said, very kind of like the Rockettes. You got the fishnet pantyhose, high heels, all that kind of stuff. So again, the outfit doesn't look bad. I'm not a huge Lucia person. I don't really use her a whole lot because I have other characters that can kind of do similar things, especially now that a lot of the stuff has been expanded with other characters. But overall, this is a really nice costume. I do like the look of it. I like the blonde and the hair. The weapon looks really cool. It looks cool, but to me, it almost feels very Vincent-esque. Oh, you got stars there too. I just noticed those. It's kind of Vincent-esque, but it works with the costume. It works with what she's got going on. So overall, it looks fine. I think it's a solid outfit. Speaking of the outfit, let's go into the details of it. Just like Cid's, physical magic defense plus 15%, survivability is always a great thing, can't argue that. The Earthen Silken Hat. This is basically the physical version of, and Earth version of Sid's. Earth ability damage 30%, physical ability damage plus 20% when the command gauge is maxed. Solid stats there. So it kind of looks like this is becoming our new Arcanum, which I'm fine with. It's kind of like that new meta, so you know we're not going full Omni Elemental for everybody. This is that next step, even though I think Arcanum's 35%, so we are losing 5% there, but we are getting that max there. The Rifle of the Hunt is the weapon. When we look at it, its base stat, 390% physical damage to a single enemy. I kind of wish we would see some of these elemental physicals be AoE. I feel like a lot of our elemental AoE attacks are all magic. So I'd like to see some physicals like that. It does lower Earth Resist. And the nice thing about this, the benefit from this weapon over Sid's weapon, this one does not have the HP threshold for the elemental resist down, which is amazing. That, in my opinion, makes this weapon better than Sid's. It does have an HP threshold for lowering PDEF, which is fine because this is doing physical damage, so lowering the PDEF works with this weapon. Again, I'm not been a fan of these HP thresholds, so this bums me out a little bit for it, but it is a nice little add-on for the PDEF decrease. It's low to mid on both. Again, I'm fine with the PDEF one if they're going to do the HP threshold, but Earth Resist, that should be mid to mid, especially we're talking single enemy attack. That should be mid to mid, 100% at this point. P attack, triangle, sigil. Again, this works really well for her because she is also classified as support, and her support role, when you activate that support role action, gives her triangle bonus +1, so this weapon works great with that. You put a triangle materia here, you're already getting the +2 to it, on top of the +1 from her support role. Boost P attack and boost physical ability potency for the R abilities. Again, solid R abilities for this weapon. If you take this thing to OB1, you're now doing 450% physical earth damage to a single enemy. Earth resist is still low to mid, which is, again, a bummer. The PDEF is low to mid. Your boost P attack's at 32. Again, I see her main-handing this. I'm going to come back to what weapons you can pair with this here in a second. I just realized I skipped over that, sorry. The boost P attack's at 32, so you're at 20% there. You're only 3 points away from the 30%, but that's going to be really easy to get this past OB1, probably. Boost physical ability potency is at 15, so 30% to your physical ability damage when that command gauge is maxed. You take it up to OB6, you're now doing 550 to a single enemy. Earth resist is mid to high. I'm fine with that being there. So, but again, it should have been mid to mid, now mid to high. I think that's great now at this point, because you're going to be constantly casting this anyways, so there's zero reason you're not going to hit the high. Your PDEF decrease is now mid to high, again, 50% threshold. P attack's at 40, so 30% to your P attack. Your physical ability potency is at 27, so 45% extra physical ability damage. If you do happen to get this up to OB10, here's kind of a bummer with this. When you look at Sid's, I'm going to come back with Sid's weapon again here really quickly for this comparison. So when Sid's weapon was maxed, he was doing 670 to all enemies and gets a 1.2 damage buff to his damage when he has a buff. Sorry, when he gets a 1.2 times damage when he has a buff. And again, he's doing that to all enemies. She gets 620. She's doing less damage, because I said 670, right? I can't just forget that already. Yeah, he's doing 670. He's doing more damage to more enemies. And getting, again, assuming he has a buff, which he probably will, with even more damage on top of that. They really kind of screwed Lucia here. This should have been sitting at 800. This should have been about 800 physical earth damage. Again, she's not a main DPS. She should not be doing the 900,000 like everybody else. But this should have been high, even 700. I'll take 700, or make Sid's lower. But she should have been doing more considering she's only attacking a single enemy. This should have gone mid to high. Again, I feel like this is... They weakened Lucia's weapon here. That should have been high to high at this point. The P-Def I'm fine with being mid to high as being a secondary debuff stat. So, something I wish they would have done with this weapon to make it more viable. But, again, it's still not a bad weapon. 46, you're 9 points away from getting this maxed out, so again, you just have a P attack of plus 18 on something else and you're good to go. So 40% physical attack, your physical ability potency is at 39, so you're getting 60%. Again, not a terrible weapon, but I feel like they could have done a little bit better with it for somebody who is a support role. Especially when you compare it to an AoE weapon. Okay, so, you know, what could you pair up with this with Lucia? So, first things first, she does... Let's go here for this. She does technically have some Earth Boost. She's got the Holiday Revolver. The downside is it is a magic weapon. So you could boost your Earth Potency, but you're getting Magic Attack, which is not going to pair well with her weapon. Now, that being said, you could... look at P attack items, which unfortunately the Bald Eagle is one of them, but it boosts Ice Potency as a secondary stat. You could do the Black Rifle, which is going to boost your crit potency. Not terrible. The P attack's not terribly high. I mean, if you have this thing at OB6, it's got the stats you need to get yourself maxed if you had her main weapon at OB10. The crit potency is going to give you, so 17, so 13. It's only going to give you a 20% crit damage addition, but still, that's something. So that's something that you could pair up with it. It also applies silence, which most enemies anymore, bosses at least, are resistant to, so this is mainly here to get you that P attack. Other things you could potentially do. We could look at how the... There we go. How her weapons then... these other things work. So this lowers P-Def. This is not going to be a good thing to add on as her weapons are already going to be lowering P-Def. I would not mess with the Nightjar at all when it comes to that. Ignoring the fact that it's, has a Diamond Sigil, which is great, and it boosts HP and ability potency, which would, really work well with this weapon. The fact that it's doubling down on the P-Def isn't really needed. You have the Marine Shooter, which will lower P attack, but it also lowers fire resistance. You're looking at an earth weapon, so it's not going to help out much. But it has the boost physical ability potency, which is going to pair well with the current weapon. Rose Musket has magic ability potency. She's doing physical. This is not going to pair well at all. The Thunderbird, same deal. Magic attack, lightning potency. Holiday Revolver, we already talked about. Bald Eagle, we've already talked about. The V39, boost attack and fire resist. If you're doing earth damage to something, it's probably not attacking with fire. So while the boost attack is fine, I feel like this one's going to be wasted. Pulse Gun, boost attack and wind potency. If you're doing something with wind or earth damage, it's probably strong against wind, not a good pairing. Serpent Eater is going to boost HP, which is always welcome, and a boost water potency, which is going to be a little wasted. Tranquilizer Gun, heal and ability potency. The ability potency would be fine, and the fact that she can support by getting rid of poison and darkness isn't a terrible thing either. SSR, HP and lightning potency. HP is fine. It's going to give you some MDef, which could be potentially useful. Unfortunately, that lightning potency is going to be wasted. The Mad Minute, HP, physical ability potency, decreases M attack. This could be massively good. If you've got something that you can lower its physical defense, you can and it's a magic attack creature, you can lower its magic attack, boosting your own HP and physical ability potency. The Mad Minute would not be a terrible weapon to add to your arsenal. Black Rifle, I think we already talked about. It's the P attack and crit. Like I said, it applies silence, so we don't need to worry about that one. We already talked about it. And the Barn Swallow I wouldn't worry about. It's got Diamond Sigil, which is nice, but again, magic attack, lightning resistant are probably going to be not as useful. So honestly, the Mad Minute is one of the better weapons that I would recommend pairing with this. Again, you could also do the Tranquilizer Gun as well if you want her in a little bit of a healer-ish role where she's not truly healing as much as she is debuffing. However, I just realized this is only on herself. So you would be using this for the ability only. I misread that one, I'm sorry. So, again, decent weapons. They don't have much in the realm of offhands, and this is for both characters. They don't have much in the offhand to help buff that weapon. You're going to have to really rely on your offhand stuff, not your secondaries, to help them out. But again, they're both support characters, so they're not terrible banners. So overall, do I recommend pulling on these banners? Oh, real quick as well, sorry. Aerith got an update to her classic Coney, 10 points to 15 points, so she gets a little bit more physical or magic ability damage there. We also have the Durandal, the ultimate weapon for Zac is still a part of this. Solid weapon, ultimate weapon for Zac. So if you're pulling in this banner and you get it, that's a pretty decent win. Alright, now back to that. Sorry. So, do I recommend pulling on this banner? This is one where if you are lacking Earth Resist down or Lightning Resist down, you've got the crystals to get yourself to at least OB6 on either weapon, depending on which one you're going for, and you can get yourself to the costume in OB6. I would say that these are good banners to pull on. They're not the best. I don't think they're the best, but I think they are still solid banners. The nice thing is these weapons are not limited. These weapons are going to hang around. We can wish list these weapons for later. The downside is the costumes. Overall, I think the costumes are really good. I think the costumes are great. And they would be one where I would say if you're going to pull, let's say you don't have enough to OB6, you're going to bank on being able to wish list it later, get yourself to the costume for whichever character you're pulling for. Is this a must pull? Not necessarily. If you're looking at adding Lucia into your crew or Cid into your crew, then I would say, yeah, go for these for sure. But overall, I wouldn't say that the gear is do or die. The stamp card's pretty forgiving, by the way. The first one is kind of average. You get to the second page, you've got the 3 weapons plus a 5-star. You can choose your costume. You get the ticket. You go into page 3, you got 2 more chances at weapons, plus the 5-star or higher guaranteed, and then you start into your X page. So the stamp cards are not bad, especially for a 2-character banner. So, solid weapons, solid gear. Again, not the most overpowered, not the most game-breaking, but useful. They are indeed useful. If you're somebody who already has a strong physical Earth team or a strong magic lightning team, you could probably hold off. But again, if this is something you're interested in, it's not a terrible pull idea. So that's kind of my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the banner. We're going to call that here. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, follow along with what we do here, hit the like button. Comment down below, do you agree with my analysis on these weapons and gear? Do you not? Let me know why. We can start that conversation because I'm always interested to see other people's point of view on some of this stuff. Did I overanalyze? Did I underanalyze? It's always interesting for me to see those things. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.